All right, Liverpool keeps on winning. 6 wins out of 7. Let's take a deep dive into their latest victory, a 1-0 nail-biter over Crystal Palace. We're going beyond the scoreline to see what makes this Liverpool team tick.
A 1-0 win doesn't quite capture the full story, does it?
Not at all. Expert speaker, this hot start, it's drawing comparisons to some legendary Liverpool sides. What makes this system under Slot so effective, especially this early in the season? How does it compare to those dominant teams of the past?
Well, you don't see this kind of start every day. Only twice before in Liverpool's history, actually, back in 61, 62, and 91. Those were legendary sides. What's interesting about Slot is how he's taken that classic Liverpool philosophy and added this modern high-pressing element.
I see. So building on the legacy, but adding his own twist.
Precisely. Those legendary teams, they were known for their control, their methodical build-up. This Liverpool team under Slot, they still value possession, but there's this directness, this intensity in attack that's all him.
And it's clearly working. They're simply relentless. It seems like every week a different player steps up. This time it was Jota, bagging the winner, his first goal since the season opener. What does that tell us about how this team is structured offensively?
It speaks volumes about their adaptability. Under Klopp, it was all about that front three. Salah, Mane, Firmino, virtually unstoppable.
Right, a trio for the ages.
Exactly. But Slot's system, it encourages contributions from everywhere.
It's like the goals can come from anywhere on the pitch.
Exactly. Jota, Diaz, Gakpo, they can all finish. It makes them incredibly dangerous.
So it's less about individual brilliance and more about a cohesive system where anyone can be the hero.
You've got it. This unpredictability makes them so difficult to defend against. Teams can't just focus on shutting down one-star player anymore.
And speaking of tough opponents, imagine being Crystal Palace in this match. I mean, the article mentions they had a goal disallowed in the very first minute of the game. How does that kind of early setback impact a team mentally, especially against a team like Liverpool who are already on a roll?
Oh, it's a tough one to come back from, no doubt. To think you've got that dream start only for VAR to intervene, it's deflating. And against a side like Liverpool who feed off that early momentum, that early pressure, it's even harder to recover.
It's like just when you think you've got them, it's ripped away from you.
Exactly. And that missed opportunity just amplifies Liverpool's dominance. Instead of a potential upset, you've got Palace on the back foot from minute one.
Forced to weather a very, very intense storm.
You can say that again?
And that storm included a worrying sight for Liverpool fans. Alisson had to come off injured.
Yeah, never a good sign.
He's so crucial to the way they play. How concerned should fans be?
Well, there's no understating his importance. Alisson is the foundation upon which this Liverpool side is built.
The foundation. That's a great way to put it.
And it's not just his shot stopping, it's the distribution, his ability to launch attacks from the back. He gives their entire defense the confidence to push so high, knowing he's got their back.
So this injury really puts the spotlight on Liverpool's midfield to control the game even more. Speaking of which, you highlighted Gravenberch's performance in midfield as one to watch. For those of us still getting familiar with his game, what makes him stand out?
He's like the orchestra conductor in that midfield. Gravenberch dictates the tempo, picks out these passes that others just don't see. He sets the rhythm, controls the flow, connects the defense with the attack.
And under Slot, it seems like he's really blossoming into that role. But it wasn't all plain sailing for Liverpool in this match, was it? That injury to Alisson looms large.
Yeah, it's a real concern, especially with some tough games coming up. But even with Alisson off injured, Crystal Palace still couldn't find a way through. Their struggles this season run deeper than just this one match.
It's a far cry from last season when they managed to beat Liverpool at Anfield. What's changed for them?
A couple of things, really. Liverpool have evolved under Slot. But Palace, well, they're a different team without Conor Gallagher in that midfield. They haven't been able to replace that playmaking ability.
Right, he really pulled the strings for them. The article did mention that Palace's manager, Oliver Glasner, made some interesting tactical changes in the second half. Can you unpack those for us?
Sure. So around the hour mark, Glasner made a double substitution, bringing on Eze and Edouard, who were both attack-minded players. And he switched their formation to a 4-3-3. So more attacking players on the pitch, trying to unlock that Liverpool defense.
A bit more ambition, you could say.
Exactly. And you know what? It nearly worked. Those last 20 minutes or so, Palace really put the pressure on. Alisson had to make a couple of big saves before he went off injured.
Do you think if they'd had a bit more time, they might have nicked a draw?
It's definitely possible. There were some nervy moments for Liverpool in that second half. But you have to give credit to Palace. They didn't just roll over. Glasner himself said that he saw enough from his team to suggest that their first win is just around the corner.
They face Nottingham Forest next, another team battling to get some points on the board. They're calling it a must-win for both sides. Why is this particular match so crucial, especially for Palace?
Well, these six-pointer matches, as they're called, are absolutely massive in a relegation battle because you're not just gaining 3 points for a win, you're also denying your rivals those points.
So it's a psychological blow as well as a blow to their points tally.
Exactly. For a team like Palace, still searching for their first win, a victory over Forest could be the springboard they need. It's all about momentum.
Right, build some confidence, climb up that table. But let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture in the Premier League. Liverpool are currently sitting pretty at the top 6 wins out of 7. Some are already saying they're the team to beat this year. Is it too early for those kinds of predictions?
Well, a little bit of excitement never hurt anyone, and honestly, you can't help but be impressed with what we're seeing from Liverpool. They're playing with confidence, with swagger, but more importantly, they're finding different ways to win.
And that's what's most impressive to you, this ability to get results even when they're not at their free-flowing best.
It's a sign of true champions, wouldn't you say? That grit, that determination to grind out results when things aren't going their way. We saw that against Palace. But the real test will be those upcoming matches against Chelsea and Arsenal, especially if Alisson is out.
Those back-to-back fixtures after the international break are a real test of their title credentials. 2 massive matches right out of the gate after the break. It feels like we're at a real turning point in the season already, and it's only October.
That's what makes the Premier League so exciting, right? The story changes so quickly.
1 minute you're top of the table, the next you're battling injuries, fighting to stay in the race.
Exactly.
And for Liverpool, how they handle these next few weeks, especially without Alisson, it could make or break their season.
It's a real test of their depth, for sure.
Do they stick to their guns if Alisson's out for a while? Or do they have to adapt, become a bit more cautious, maybe drop that high line a bit?
These are the questions, aren't they?
Big questions for Slot. And for us watching this Liverpool team evolve, what should we be looking out for in these next few weeks? What are the key things to keep an eye on?
Well, pay close attention to how the team dynamic shifts if Alisson is out for an extended period. Does the responsibility fall solely on the backup keeper? Or do you see other players, maybe even the whole team, adjusting their game to compensate for his absence?
Interesting. It's almost like a domino effect, one change forcing another.
Absolutely.
It just goes to show, even in a team sport, the impact one player can have is incredible.
It's true. And for a team like Liverpool, with their sights set on the title, these small margins, these moments, they can make all the difference.
No room for error at the top. It's what makes this season so fascinating. We've got Liverpool setting a blistering pace, but with challenges on the horizon. We've got Crystal Palace still searching for that first win, but showing glimpses of what they're capable of.
And let's not forget Nottingham Forest down there at the bottom of the table. That match against Palace, it's a relegation 6-pointer if ever there was one. Could be a turning point for both teams.
It's shaping up to be a nail-biting clash, that's for sure. So much drama unfolding already this season. Every point is precious.
That's the beauty of the Premier League, isn't it? Every goal, every save, every single decision can have huge consequences.
You've definitely given us a lot to think about today, expert speaker. As always, thank you. It's going to be fascinating to see how these storylines develop.
My pleasure. I can't wait to see what happens next.
The Premier League, eh? Unpredictable, passionate, dramatic. You just can't beat it. Thanks for diving deep with us. Catch you next time.